All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the CLG podcast. This is episode 5.
Yeah.
All right, you know me, you know my co-host.
What's up,
All right.
people?
No, not gonna lie, this has been a brutal week as a CLG fan.
It really has been.
Yeah, let's just get right into it, I
Yeah.
guess.
So just quick disclaimer for you guys. Both had a really busy week. So this might is going to be a little quicker of an episode. Didn't get a chance to watch nearly as much as we had hoped. So it's going to be more of just a rundown of what happened. And so we'll start.
It's probably better. You don't want us raging the entire podcast, anyways.
Exactly.
All right, but let's start out with a slightly more positive note.
Yeah.
CLG versus Phoenix 1.
Oh, yeah. Well, except for game one. Game one was essentially what you would expect when you put Xmithy on fucking Rengar.
Yep, Phoenix 1 gets a triple kill at the 6-minute mark. Phoenix 1 proceeds to go and snowball the game absolutely out of control.
Yep, yeah, it was pretty bad.
But you know what? It's okay, right? Because as bad as game 1 was, game 2 was the exact same.
It
We just
was.
they just transferred Rengar and the curse of Rengar over to Phoenix 1.
Absolutely. It's like NA and Rengar just do not mix.
Yeah. I mean, Meteos gets caught out early game trying to do an invade, and then he ends up getting solo killed by Aphromu on Bard
Yeah,
for the first
which
blood.
when I didn't actually get to watch the game, I was at work. But my fiance furiously was texting me, laughing that Meteos died to Aphromu on Bard, and I was like, "That's awesome, awesome."
Yep, and then game 3 happens where COG actually plays fairly well for a good amount of the game, but then Phoenix 1 gets a really good pick, and Darshan and Aphromuth both end up giving up their lives to save the rest of the team because Stixay, actually, I think he gets hit by a Arena Shockwave. I can't quite remember what it is, but he ends up walking away with just near single digits HP.
Oh, it was
And
so
that
close.
Right, and that leaves both Huhi and Xmithy to fend off the Baron against all 5 of Phoenix 1. So what do? They decide to go get Baron? No, Phoenix 1 is actually Plat 1. They decide to go
Yeah,
and chase for kills, and Xmithy and Huhi managed to waste enough time. Although Xmithy does give up in life, the rest of our team does manage to respawn.
yeah, and I mean, and then what was essentially in that game the turning point was CLG essentially got wiped. But Stixay survived. Now, just so you know, Stixay goes 9-0-5 in game 3. He doesn't actually die. So he's being chased down by Ryu on Oriana. He hops over their Phoenix 1 base wall to bottom lane turret. But hey, the bottom lane inhibitor turret was gone. Because guess what? Darshan was split pushing like he should be. Stixay then heals up off of a minion wave that just started there, and then he takes an inhibitor turret while dancing around Ryu, and then essentially, because he just got Baron buff, just walks out of lane. He
Yeah,
survives, he gets an inhibitor, and his team lost the team fight.
you know what makes it even better? It actually wasn't even the turret; it was the inhibitor
Or
itself.
sorry, yeah, it was the inhibitor. So he takes the inhibitor down and life steals to full so that he can escape away from the Oriana who's chasing him down bot lane. And it was essentially a just typical Big Dick Say move. And it was beautiful.
And the most memorable moment is the cast. Captain Flowers does a fantastic job of this, and in the end, Six Ace just one smooth criminal.
He is just a smooth criminal. Oh, man. So, on.
Do we have to? I mean, it's all downhill from here.
So far, it is downhill. So far.
All right,
Ah,
so CLG versus Team Solo Mid. You know, it's in the name.
yeah. It was all in that entire game.
Well, okay, let's not give too much credit to Bjergsen. I'm pretty sure we gave them game 1 with our draft.
We did. I mean, game one versus TSM. You know what? Sven Skaren, he's probably the only player in North America that can actually play Rengar.
I
Smithy
mean,
did pick up Graves, who in against Phoenix One he played really well as Graves.
he did.
Yep,
I'd like to point out there is also Inori, Ikedi, and a few others that can play Rengar, but it is very limited.
it is. Yes. So, man, and then Stixay picks up Jin, who I mean, he's okay on Jin. It's definitely not something that favors Stixay. Afromu picked up Bar or Braum, and I mean, this game was just ugh. It
You know what the main issue of this was? Let me tell you. We have Poppy, Graves, Jace, Jin, and Braum. You take away the names of who's playing it, you take away the team. What do you see about that comp?
it's all AD.
It's all AD. Now let me tell you one pick. Maokai.
Yep. And I
That
think
that
that wasn't
I
even a first pick either. Like
no, that
Maokai
was
was
the
left up
third pick.
until third round.
They picked Maokai and Karma together
Yep.
in the third round.
Ugh, it's just brutal. So
Now,
that one was probably the closest game. I mean, it was a 46-minute game. I mean, looking at the goal history on it, it was just they kept it close for like 80% of the game. It was 2 to 4K difference in gold. And then all of a sudden at the 42-minute mark, I mean, it's just TSM just explodes. They get the right team fight. It was brutal to watch.
and what's sad is that we kept it fairly close, but unless we had snowballed that game out of control within the first, 10 minutes or so, we
Yeah.
were going to probably lose that game. We didn't have
Yep.
much of a win condition really going for us.
We really did. All right, so let's move on to game two, which, I mean,
I mean, that's even worse.
game two,
We just got outclassed.
we got outclassed. I mean,
Straight up outclassed. I can't even.
I don't know
th- th-
what the
yeah,
boys were thinking when
no
they did this
excuses.
draft. I love CLG, but Renekton, Rengar, Alistair, like, it's against TSM, man. Like, they didn't even really ban a whole lot away. Sure, TSM banned Graves, but I mean, there's so much else out there that
There's
they could
Soraka
have
up.
put
There,
Darshan or Xmithio.
right, there's Soraka up. There's
Yeah.
Bard up. Afremu can play those. There is Poppy still up for Darshan. There's still Fiora up.
Ah, well,
There's still no, sorry, Maokai was taken out the second pick, second
yeah,
draft phase.
it's banned.
But still, we first pick Rengar.
Yeah, first pick. And
I
then
don't,
what did
I
they
don't get
decide
it.
to take? Well, they took Kha'Zix, who Svenskeren is using on. But all right,
And
so
you know one thing I want to point out, Bjergsen. You know, I mentioned earlier it's in the name. Mr. Solo mid himself. First game he goes 5-0-11. Second game 7-1-11.
yeah,
I
you got to get it
I
up to these guys. TSM's no one knows.
as much as I hate to give him credit, he really really played well today.
He did.
I guess as a positive takeaway, Darshan did do pretty decent.
Yep.
His Poppy was very good. I thought his Renekton was okay, but it's Renekton getting closer to late game, so eh.
Yeah. So as you can tell, we lost game two. We got 2-0 by TSM, but I mean, in overall, the weekend we go 1-1. Unfortunately, Phoenix One ended up winning, so they went 1-1. But that means that they do take sole spot, sole top spot of third place.
Mhm.
So C or yeah, no, sorry, fourth place.
Fourth
So
place.
CLG is currently fifth, which is not too bad. We're a game up on Immortals. So that's not bad right now.
Yeah, we do
And
have a 2-0 record against Immortals,
yep,
and we have a 2-0 record against Phoenix One, which is now super important for playoffs.
exactly. So all right, let's move on to some CS:GO. So the CLG Red girls, they were playing at the Intel Challenge in Katowice. Um, so they started off their group stages really well. Their first match was against Expert Female, where they went 16-6 on Mirage.
A very solid, dominating performance. And then in match two, they were against. Tell me, how do you say their name?
It's LDLC, and the FE just stands for the female team.
Ah,
Yeah,
all right, yeah. I mean, they went 16-8, so on Cobble. That's another very solid performance by them. And the team overall had a plus 18 in the group stages, which put them to second seed heading for playoffs.
Yeah, which I mean, unfortunately, there's only 18, so 4 teams going into the playoffs. So that put them up against Dignitas, um, which, if you're not super aware of CS:GO, especially CS:GO Red, we had a previous teammate, Kath. She was great, but she left the team not too long ago to join Team Dignitas, and that's who we came up against in playoffs. We won the first map on trade. It went to OT, which is great. We ended up going 19-17 in OT, which was pretty sweet. Unfortunately, we did get crushed on map 2 on Cash and map 3 on Cobble. Both scores ended up going 8-16 for Dignitas female. So a GG to Kath.
Yep, and ultimately CLG Red does go home with third, fourth place, and they take home 3.5K as prize money.
Yeah,
So congrats to the ladies for having at least a fairly decent performance at IEM. I'm
yeah.
looking
It's
forward
not
to seeing
IEM.
them do
It's
very. Or
Intel
sorry,
Challenge. Yeah,
right, right.
same spot, but it's just basically IEM is the Extreme Masters tournament, and
Yep.
Intel Challenge is kind of like essentially an amateur version.
Sure.
Yeah. So what about
Now,
CS:GO Blue?
actually, oh yeah, CS:GO Blue. Well, unfortunately, Hazed is no longer our fill-in temp. Now we knew it was just a temporary position. He had to step down at some point, but Papa Hayes is.
No longer.
Uh,
Sucks, but you know what? Hopefully we'll find that fifth, and we'll get someone good.
it's always sad to see one of our old guard leaving, though, even if
Yeah,
it is temporary.
especially good old Mr. Hazed. All right,
Let's round things up with
yeah.
Smash Summit 4.
So we got
Let's
some
talk.
Smash Summit 4 coming up. Let's talk about doubles first, since that one is actually done. It was a pretty decent showing by PewFat this week. They unfortunately lost to West Balls versus Plup 3-2 in the first round of groups. So that knocked them into the losers, where they ended up beating Hugs and Shoot at 3-0.
Right, and then they go on to beat Hungry Box Ace 3-0. Now, unfortunately, this puts them up against Lucky and Mango in the top four losers semifinal, in which they go 3-1. This ultimately puts them at fourth place.
Yeah, so this was actually one of the first tournaments that Mango kind of came back in. He doesn't play in a lot, but he's a huge fan of being in Smash Summit. And so basically he just kind of came back, paired up with Lucky, who is currently one of the top Smash Melee players to begin with, and they crushed it.
Right,
Huh.
and now let's go on to talk a little bit about PP as well.
Yeah, so we got into singles here. So SFAT initially in group stages lost to Plop 3. So that kicks him into the losers bracket, where he actually beats Ice 3-1 in the first round. He then loses to Chudat 3-1, sending him to the bracket into after the group stage, where he beats West Balls 3-1.
Sure. And, it's funny. I just had to mention PPU started with SFAT. That's all good.
Yeah,
PPU, he actually lost to Leffen 3-0 in the groups, and this
yeah,
sent him to the losers.
that's a sucky way
Now,
to start off.
yep, a very, very tough opponent, and it doesn't get better from there. He does beat S2J 3-1, and then Lucky 3-1 as well, and this sends him back to the winners brackets after groups. Unfortunately, from there, he loses 3-1, sending him back to losers.
Yeah, so that basically was the craps for CLG. That basically meant that we had to have SFAT play Pew Pew in losers bracket, see which one of them was going to end up going on. There's no real winner here because these guys are awesome teammates. But in the end, SFAT won the matchup 3-1, so that means Pew Pew is out. Currently, Smash Summit is ongoing. SFAT is about to play in the next like 10 minutes or so. So unfortunately, we won't have an update on that, but that's all right.
Sure, we'll definitely give it to you next week.
Yeah.
Other than that, we don't
So
have anything else for this week.
yeah, that seems to be the week, guys. That's a little bit quicker of a video, or about.
Yeah, so sorry about the episode. We didn't have very much this week, once again. But thanks for listening, and we hope to improve again for next week.
All right, guys. Peace out.
See ya.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.